You're listening to The Corbett Report. CorbettReport.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to The Corbett Report. This is James Corbett of CorbettReport.com, podcasting to you, as always, from the sunny climes of Western Japan here in April 2018. And you might remember this as the Questions for Corbett podcast, where you send in the questions and I try to provide some answers. Well, I say you might remember because it has been several months since the last edition of this monthly podcast series, more on which in a moment. But first, as is my wont, I'll let you know the different ways that you can get your questions in for the next edition of this series. Of course, the best way, if you are a Corbett Report member, please log into the website and leave your question directly in the comments for this post on CorbettReport.com. Specifically, this is Questions for Corbett, episode 39, so leave your question there and I'll try to get to it next time. Otherwise, you can contact me through the usual methods, including the contact form on CorbettReport.com, where you can either leave a text message or you can record your voice and potentially appear as a voice on the next edition of this series. And I used to say you could tweet me, but not anymore, so that's no longer an option. But at any rate, you can still get your questions in for the next edition of this series, and I'm always interested to hear your questions. And of course, you can always record a video and leave your video question on a video sharing platform of your choosing. A question in recently from Andy, simply, why aren't you doing Questions for Corbett anymore? That's a good question for Corbett. And there's no definitive answer to this. There's no satisfying answer other than to say, I wasn't feeling it. This is a series where sometimes the questions are popping and they're getting me excited and I'm digging stuff up. And then other times there's stretches where it just seems that a lot of the questions are kind of samey, that I've not only seen them hundreds of times before, but answered them in the past. Even the kind of off-the-wall, zany questions that come in, I've answered most of those before in the past as well. For example, I had a question in from by email from Mohammed recently. Dear James, if you're in Japan, does that mean you love anime? I get these kinds of questions a lot, and again, this is the type of lighthearted, kind of easygoing question that I might answer as a little comedic relief or change of pace during one of these episodes, but actually I've answered that before in the past, and I'm not going to dig out the specific reference because that would be a lot of work for probably little reward. But I did talk about this at one point during one of my question and answers, talking about why are you in Japan, and I did answer that most people, most Western white males come to Japan because they're interested in anime or video games or Japanese girls, and I'm not interested in anime or video games, and in fact, never got into it. Moving on, we got a question in from Dakajewea in the comments section of the last edition of this series, where he writes, Hi James, I wanted to ask if there is a way to download your videos in high quality 720p without using YouTube. I know that we can download them from your site or BitChute if we want to avoid YouTube, but the quality is low in both cases. While I understand that it's probably to save space or some other technical reason, I was wondering if it is possible. Well, thank you for that question, Dakajoe. You are right. I do provide the 480p version on my site because, exactly as you say, most people even complain about the size of those files. So I don't think we're quite ready in terms of global bandwidth rollout to have the 720p versions available for everybody. I would consider posting the high quality as well as the low quality versions, but I just don't have time to be doing that with everything that I'm posting. Trust me, it takes an awful lot of time even just to post just a simple video, so I won't be doing that. All right, next question in from Oscar. Hi, James. On your episode, The Revolution Will Not Be YouTubed, you recommend to your readers, viewers, that if they come across important material, for example, great articles, podcasts, and videos, they then should save it locally to their hard drive so that it can't disappear. This is what I'm currently doing, but the problem is that just saving all those different types of multimedia becomes chaotic to manage without some kind of system when the collection grows. Could you tell me if you have a preferred multimedia database management system or some other kind of system that you use to manage your own collection of important material and keep track of why you saved a particular piece of information in the first place? Okay, excellent. Thank you for the question. Good question, Oscar. The short answer is no. I don't have a database, multimedia management system. I do very basic system. I have a folder for audio, a folder for video, and a folder for text articles, and I just save things in there. And for example, within the text article folder, I have folders for different subjects, geopolitics or finance or what have you. But that's the extent of my organization, and I rely on keyword searching in the Finder, which I'm on a Mac. The Finder used to be amazing, incredible, especially coming over from Windows back a decade ago when it was just ridiculous trying to search for a file. And I came over to Mac, and you just type in a keyword, and suddenly, oh, there's a PDF with that. There's an HTML. There's a file name that corresponds to that. It was so good. It seems to be getting less like that for me these days, but at any rate, it's still usable. So that's all I'm doing. In terms of fancy database, multimedia management software or something, I know there are different things that exist, and different people have different methods, but it is really just about habit. And if you were in the habit of doing something a certain way, it's like anything else. I mean, anything that you can step into someone's office and it looks like a chaotic mess, but they know exactly where everything is because they do it. So. Yeah, no. In case you haven't figured it out in these first 11 years of the Corbett Report's existence, the Corbett Report is not sponsored by any corporation and has never run an advertisement for anyone. Corbett Report is not sponsored by any corporation and has never run an advertisement for anyone, and never will. And no, the Pepsi Corporation is not paying me to wear a t-shirt that says peace while talking about 9/11 was an inside job, amazingly enough. Of course, the Corbett Report is brought to you by you. So a great big thank you to all the subscribers who literally make this work possible. And if you are a regular listener or a viewer of the Corbett Report and you are not yet a subscriber, may I humbly suggest that you do so. As little as $1 a month truly makes this entire website and all the work that I do possible. Speaking of which, some very interesting work coming up later this week. I hope you'll stay tuned for that at CorbettReport.com. James Corbett, CorbettReport.com, brought to you by you.
Hi Internet friends, we're going to talk about James Corbett. This is, the time now is 3:47 p.m. It is the 26th of July 2018, nearly 4 p.m. in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I started at 8 a.m. this morning to do this 5-minute video. 8 a.m. this morning, all day, long story. But I did an interview with a very important person yesterday. You're going to learn some incredible stuff. And I presume that's the reason why they decided to nuke my laptop, had to contortionize myself to get it back going. I'm going to actually sit and film the whole process one day so you go, holy hell, how many times does that happen a day, Brendon? It's been pretty quiet lately till I did that interview yesterday, and that's a whole story to itself. Let's get into Corbett Report. Why am I going to pick on poor Jimmy Corbett over there in Japan? Konnichiwa yokozo irishimasen, Mr. Corbett. Genki desu ka? I should go and look you up, James, because I don't believe you are the person you say you are. Sorry, but, if you don't know who James Corbett is, James Corbett, of course, travels the world. He's the go-to intellectual man. If you'd want someone who's presentable to the public, who knows how to use the term Zionist in all the right places. He's been to all the big, well, I don't think he's been to Iran, but he's certainly been to the ones in Malaysia. He does have a good intellectual grasp of a lot of things, and I agree with 80%, 70% of what he says. I'm not going to diss him completely. For the last 2 years, he is one of many of the leaders I've been trying to give this information to, and I want to show you how full of shit he is. He's not an unfortunate accident. It's not that he didn't receive the emails or the tweets or the comments on the YouTube channel from 50 different people over the last 2 years. It's not that. He's a fucking liar. And I'm going to prove it to you. And for those of you who don't know, myself and a group of people, we specialize in showing how Israel is leading the BRICS. Israel is leading the Belt and Road Initiative, the $7.2 trillion Rothschild project run out of China, which is linking up the Middle East and explaining a whole host of things, showing how Israel is working with Russia and is working with China, and behind the scenes is working with Iran. It's all going to come out, and you're going to eat my you-know-what. No one wants to talk about it, even though it's in mainstream news now. Even though it's been in articles for the last 2 years minimum, since back to 2011, 2009 and beyond. No one wants to talk about it. None of the big players. None of them. I want you to listen to Corbett talk about technology transfers to the former Soviet Union and now to China. And he's saying what we've been saying, that of course China is an artificial construct and Israel is handing the technology over as we speak, sucking it out of the United States, distributing to Russia, to China, who then distribute it to Iran. So they've got a big enemy. So Israel has the excuse to build greater Israel. Israel has the excuse to keep its population under control out of fear. Hezbollah is an artificial construct, might be full of very sincere people, but they're started up by the privatized Jacob Rothschild Western intelligence agencies. The same people that ran the Soviet Union, the same people that ran Iran-Contra, the same people that deal the drugs, launder the drug money, buy the weapons, working in closely with the military-industrial complex. Hezbollah come out. I mean, they do Hitler salutes, they goose step. It's done on purpose, threatened to wipe out all the Jews in Israel. Good one, and Bibi can avoid indictments easily. He just gives a call. Hey, Nasrallah, come out and do a speech. And then Netanyahu goes, oh my God, Hezbollah's going to get you. I guess I'll be staying in for a few more years yet, me and my friends from the military-industrial complex, which are running the United States. Hand over fist, they even have their own puppet James president. Corbett's going to talk about those technology transfers, and not once does the fucking word Israel leave his lips. If this doesn't show you what a fraud this guy is, considering the 2 years we've expended using Twitter, emails, comments on YouTube channels, webmail, everything, even audio, then I don't know what is. You tell me. Here we go.
Its own downfall, where I point out that just as in the 20th century, when the Soviet Union rose as the great menace and the great power that was threatening the U.S. hegemony, it only did so explicitly because of the technology transfers and the economic aid that was supplied by the West to the Soviet Union to allow it to be the menace of the 20th century. So too, in the exact same way, all of these incredible googads and technologies that are coming out from the Chinese military now, including the drones and the new fighter jets and the laser AK-47s, are part and parcel of technology transfers that have been taking place for the last few decades now at this point between the US and the West generally and China. And this has been done explicitly, and I detail that in my work in China and the New World Order.
No, you don't, James. You don't detail it explicitly. The word Israel does not leave your lips. Let's go back. Chinese-Israeli fund to invest $250 million in medtech. Understand, it's all being done with China. Agriculture, medical, nanotechnology, military, industrial, civilian, telecommunications, cybersecurity, you name it. They're working together to do it. China's interested in Israeli innovation. Israel aims to become the world's 15th largest economy by 2025. Netanyahu, 2 times of Israel, China. I hope Beijing's superb relations with Israel will affect its UN votes. When's old Jimmy Corbett going to do an expose on this stuff? Israel, China set up first accelerator program in Beijing. The Times of Israel with about 600, I counted them, articles about how close Israel and China are. In Beijing, Netanyahu looks to marry Israel's technology with China's capacity. Shanghai mayor visits Israel to deepen cooperation in innovation and key industries. Israeli entrepreneurs eyed Chinese opportunities, seek local partners. Photo, blah, blah, blah. In China's far west, companies cash in on surveillance program that targets Muslims. That's an interesting subject, actually. China, Israel work together in technology and innovation. And on Sydney Rittenberg, you know, I've done this China-Israel relations, innovation, infrastructure, investment. That's very interesting. Read that one. I'm just giving you a taste. These are the latest ones, very recent, on the very subject we talk about, just a loosely affiliated group of people. Half the time I'm pissed off with them, I won't talk to them. We still share links. Okay, this is what I love about the whole thing. I'm more fascinated by personalities. I'm more fascinated by the ordinary people that are really making the difference. Why Israel is the new promised land for Chinese investors. Trump must warn Israel on its China trade, from the Washington Examiner. Haaretz do an article on that. Chinese investment in Israeli tech is growing, and it's quite welcome for some. Again, that's CNBC warning about this. Right, it just on and on and on. I mean, what can I tell you? And you telling me Corbett, that stamp collector, Jared Kushner impersonator, doesn't know this stuff? Blackstone Intelligence, Sergeant, you name them. We counted, I think there was about 72 or something. All up. I'm tired. I've been at this a while. I'm not, I don't go, you bastard, why aren't you doing this? I'm the boss. Why don't you listen to me? I'm very polite. I'm extremely polite. I'm not polite anymore. You go ask Corbett why and how he's so fucking stupid. That guy's making serious money out of his shows. Serious money. If you want to learn the real truth, if you want to really learn, I'm going to give you the video. So if you're new to this channel, all right, look, I don't even want to do a fucking channel. I couldn't give a flying fuck about the internet. I couldn't care less. I've just got nowhere to go now. My $100,000 a year comprehensive registered nurse job is long gone. My life is over. Been told it to my face. Don't want to do this. I hate it. I hate wasting my time and my energy, the anxiety and worry. I can't get a girlfriend. I can't even, they brought over a few women. And I said to my landlord, what the hell do you want me to say to them? What do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a nurse, or I'm a doctor, or I work selling medical products, or I'm whatever. Think of anything like. How do I even explain to them what I'm doing with 3 warrants for my arrest? Could you imagine the difficulty I have in even attempting to form a relationship with a little wallet like this? I'm sorry, yeah, they like their crackers over here in Asia, but let me tell you, you better have a decent sized wallet. Everything else is a decent size, ladies and gentlemen, but the wallet's a little lacking. So, do you understand the sacrifice I've made? I didn't have to do this. I'd rather have been in fucking Gaza, working in an emergency room with the camaraderie of people around me, rather than being alone, on the run, getting raided by the police every 5 minutes. That's what pisses me the fuck off about James Corbett and that whole menagerie of 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 subscribers making serious money. And they will not touch this issue. It makes it dangerous for me when I travel outside of this country. When I go to Indonesia and, God forbid, Thailand or the Philippines. Extremely dangerous. They knock me off. Who is there? What, Adam Green? Adam Green's a flake. God bless him. He did an excellent job when he first did the Telpit program. He did an excellent job off the cuff. Bit of a drama queen, but I'll give him that. Right, that's it, man. There's Adam Green. With any audience, I'm next. And Adam Green just touches on it. I've got to talk about it all the time to reinforce it. Do you understand? If these people would take it up, it takes the pressure off me and it will stop my laptop getting hacked to fucking death. Till the point where I'm losing my fucking mind. I've had 3 weeks of relative quiet. Why? Because I've done nothing controversial. That's why. Where are my beautiful scripted videos? Well, I know what happens when I do them. They're pretty happy when I rant. But do you understand the danger this puts me in? You want to look at my history? It's all online.